Shalom, astrology, brother Shemai with Ancient Watchmen. Thank you for tuning in. We have a special class. This class was actually created 2 years ago when Jose Vega and I we began to expose and address a lot of the doctrines within a lot of these cult factions that began back in the 1960s through these black Hebrews, aka black Canaanites, and their doctrines that have been pushed out to deceive our people and to deceive themselves with their false man-made doctrines and their pseudo history that they pushed out in order to push out their agenda, which is Pan-Africanist ideology. So without further ado, please check out this class. It's full with a lot of information, and so make sure you take notes. Enjoy. Shalom.
False prophets teaching a lot of nonsense, a lot of man-made doctrines.
You brothers need to really think about what these brothers are saying and what they're teaching. So why would these brothers try to make Israel look Hamitic?
Hey, well, wisdom is created at the gate of your spirit, of your mind, of your soul, of your heart. So
You need to fight for each other. We're talking about truth. It's about truth at the end of the day.
The more and more information that we're bringing out together, we're building on with each other.
out in the streets, bringing the word of hope to our nation.
Shalom, Luis Colon. Ajab, Akui, Yasrala, Asr. Shalom, everybody. This is your brother Shamar with Ancient Watchmen. We have a special edition today. Today we have a special edition. We are going to address a lot of stuff. There's certain things that need to be addressed, certain things that need to be exposed. Their lies and doctrines that are based on black supremacy ideologies. And we're gonna bring that up. We're gonna bring a lot of information. Everybody can laugh about it. Brothers that are watching can laugh about it, but you can't refute the truth.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're just jealous because we can quote source after source, scholar after scholar, book after book, while they can't quote not one scholar or one book. Last time, it was funny because a brother named Garfield, they call him, from New York, right? He had Al-Azhar next to him, and he asked Al-Azhar, what is your movement's main sources? Where do you got your sources from? You know what Al-Azhar said? Our main sources are from, Babylon to Timbuktu. He quoted like one or two. That's it. Why? Because you guys don't have any type of scholarship at all. And today we're going to bring out more books, more scholars, more information, especially to debunk with Jay Shub's presentation that he did of Shamar here.
Right, so whoever is friends with Yashub Ben Issachar, you can tag him, send him this video because, the sword is coming at his neck. And when I said the sword, I'm talking about the word. I'm talking about the facts concerning his little elementary, high school, slideshow that he showed after Kanalawa went live with Al-Azhar. And that video was taken down, and he went ahead and tried to make a case against Latinos and Native Americans. Even blasting my name and blasting Kanalawa's name as well, right? So, but basically, I want Latinos and Native Americans to just pay attention to the information that is going to be brought out. Those who have watched the live video with Kana and Al-Azhar, know what I'm talking about. Kwan Ban Yasser Allah, no, we don't come from you. That's a lie. But don't worry about it. We'll bring it out. We'll bring it out.
And what do you mean by we come from y'all? What does that mean?
Anyway, so let me start by saying, those who watch Al-Azhar's supposedly, what would you call it? Debunking Kanalawa's, no, slander. I'll call it slander. Al-Azhar made a video slandering my name, slandering Kanalawa's name, right? A lot of you brothers know that a couple months ago, I started reading the Sumerian tablets, right? And, I came across certain information. And the reason why I was reading that is it was for my personal enrichment, for my personal studies. And a lot of brothers ran with it, saying that I started, I believe in Enlil and Enki, which is a lie. That's not true. Again, I made a comparison between what you found in the tablets, which is basically you find the flood stories there, along with all the cultures, you know. So I try to, you know, in my own opinion, try to connect the two, which I was wrong. And Brother Jose actually corrected me on it. You know, we actually spent like at least 3 hours going back and forth, analyzing the information. And I got corrected. I humbled down. I'm like, well, I'm not going to bring this out. You know, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you know, I want to start confusing. I know a lot of you brothers got confused by a lot of things that was posted now. So I apologize for that. But, you know, I actually made a post recently, like a week ago. But before I go there, I want to say the fact that when Alistair was making that slander video against me, he read 2 posts that I made 2 months ago. 2 months ago. But he forgot to read or go over my Facebook and screenshot a post that I made a week ago, saying that you have that post. Can you go to my Facebook page? I have that post. I'm gonna show it to you. I actually made it public for everybody to see. Alistair could have screenshot that one, but he didn't do that. He cherry picked which one he was gonna show. Why? Because he was trying to slander my name. That's wicked as hell, right? So I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about, right? Juan Ban Yashrala, you know, his father is actually a Taino Indian. Brother on the right.
All right, Juan Ban Yasharala, right? You said that I am a light-skinned Negro. Well, that's exactly what Deacon tried to expose yesterday, right? I'm very sure you probably saw his post and everything like that. But I already talked to the Deacon, and not even that, I exposed to the Deacon that both of my great grandmothers were of Negro descent. Yes, we admitted that. I admitted that to Deacon. But I also admitted to him that my grandfathers on both sides are not Negroes. They are Taino. They're very ruddy, and my grandfathers don't have woolly hair. But yet my grandfathers are both darker than me and my father. Right. Okay? So yes, we all know that, like I said, we all know that the Northern Kingdom mixed in with Negroes, Asians, all types. That's why you have people calling us Spaniards, Mongoloids, Arabs, and even Negroes. Okay, like I said, we Northern Kingdom, or what you call Northern Kingdom, we look more Shemitic than the Negroes, right, or the ones that came from West Africa, right, point blank period. And if Kwan Bansharala, your name, if you believe in camp doctrine, I suggest you check out our last class that we just did, and we address these things. Okay, so you can check that out, and we brought it up. Okay.
Anyway, so I was saying that you know, Alistair, you know, basically tried to slander my name by showing everybody on his live video of slander.
Hold on. He said what? Tainos
are Negroes.
Are Negroes. That is false. Okay. We could, if you really want, we can discuss that also. But
yeah, like
I said, I have information about that, about how when the so-called white man came over here, he classified the so-called natives and the West Africans as Negroes altogether. Right. But we also have books to show you that they definitely knew the difference between an actual Hamite and the actual Native Americans here. Okay.
Right. Anyway, so I was saying that you know, Alistair tried to slander my name by showing everybody 2 posts that I made concerning the Sumerian tablets or the Anunnaki, right? Which I explained myself that was my personal enrichment or my personal studies. You know, everybody are supposed to be rounded in a lot of stuff. So he showed 2 screenshots of 2 posts that I made 2 months ago. Why he didn't show this one right here?
Now read it.
Yeah, I actually said, this was August the 22nd, right? I said, let me set the record straight. The Anunnaki/Sumerian tablets were for my personal studies. Never claimed them to be my gods. And a lot of these brothers are running with false information to slander my name. Why? Because a lot of the stuff that was brought out, that we are bringing out, these brothers are trying to stain our name so that they can discredit us, because they know what we're bringing out is truth and factual. They're afraid that what we're bringing out is going to shatter their little foundation that has been established here for the past 50 years. In a lot of these camps, what I say, so that's one thing, and the funny thing about what Al-Azhar was trying to do, slander my name, he calls himself a priest, right? Yet, can you read Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1? He calls himself a priest. When he saw all the information that I was bringing out, I actually asked a question concerning 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1, and 2 Samuel 24, verse 1, where there's a difference between Yahweh and Satan. And I was asking questions. A lot of brothers ran with it and basically was saying that I call Yahweh Satan, which is not true. I was basically asking why in the scriptures, is Yahweh being referred as Satan and the other one is referred as to Yahweh. Basically a question.
And Sakari knew about this. Me and Deacon have talked about this. He asked me about why Shamar was saying this, and I already explained to the Deacon about that situation. So I don't know why they were trying to demonize him like that anyways.
Right. Again, it's a slander campaign to discredit us from bringing a lot of information out and educate our people, so-called Native Americans and Hispanics. Anyway, so
Leviticus what?
Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. So basically I was saying that Al-Azhar knew about the stuff that I was bringing out. Him being a deacon and a priest, supposedly a Levite, at most or whatever, called himself so-called a priest, he could have addressed me personally. Instead, what he did is he deleted me from Facebook and just said nothing. He didn't say anything, but we're going to see what the scripture says about that. Leviticus 5, verse 1.
This is Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing.
You see, if you know what's going on, if you see someone going off, if you see what they're doing is wrong, right? Read on.
And is a witness.
You're a witness that brother's going off. You're a witness that sister's going off. You're seeing what they're doing is not according to the scripture. You're seeing what they're doing is wrong. It's not morally correct according to Torah, according to the universal law. Right? Read.
Whether he has seen or known of it.
Al-Azhar knew that I was bringing this information out. Even Jose Vega just said that they had a discussion about it, right? Matthew 18:15 says, if you have a certain, something, bring it out, talk to that person one-on-one. Read on.
If he do not utter it.
If you don't say anything about that, what I was bringing out,
then he shall bear his iniquity.
See? He didn't say anything, so he's guilty. He's just as guilty when I was bringing that information in the past. Edwin Murcia in the past, like I said, Al-Azhar tried to slander my name by showing 2 posts that I made 2 months ago, not knowing that I just show a screenshot of the post that I made on August the 22nd, saying the Sumerian tablets and Anunnaki were for my personal enrichment, my personal studies, right? And so I already apologized to the nation, saying, hey, I made a mistake, this and that. Jose Vega corrected me. We got on the phone for like 3-4 hours, and we just went back and forth with it. So according to Leviticus chapter 5, Al-Azhar was in the midst of sin. He was just as guilty for not addressing me one-on-one and say, listen, bro, you're going off. I think this is wrong, this is that according to the scriptures. No, instead he deleted me. So he's going off. So that was my response to what he was trying to do by trying to slander my name. But that's it. That's about it. Kwam Ban Yashrala. Well, I already addressed that. There's no need to go back and forth with it. I made a post on August the 22nd. Everybody can go see it. It's public for everyone to see, so nobody has an excuse to try to slander my name again. And this is why I did that, because I knew that was coming. So the other thing that Alistair did, it was try to slander Kanalawa's video clip by saying that Kanalawa basically confessed that his father was a Negro. And a lot of brothers misunderstand that word. When we say like black, they think it's automatically African looking people, Hamitic looking people. That's not what it is. My sister is dark. My brother is dark as well, black. Now, in our culture, in Latino culture, if you call someone negrito or negrita, like little black or little black, basically that's what it means literally. If we call each other negrito or negrita, it's just a form of endearment, saying, basically calling each other like you're just dark. If someone's light skinned within your family, you call them güero or like blanco, which basically say you're white. So that's part of our culture. We have that cultural difference. So when we say, oh, my father was black, it's not saying that my father was African American looking person, Hamitic people, because we have black natives. Having black natives, and we still have black natives today back home. And when I say black natives, I'm not talking about African looking people, because we know, prior to the so-called black men being arriving and being scattered around, there was always indigenous on the side of the world that were black or dark. That doesn't mean that they were Negroes as far as Hamitic looking people. That's not what's happening.
And we're gonna, like I said, when we make statements, we're gonna back it up with scholarship and sources to back it up. Now, to answer Kwam Ben Shirala's point before about him saying that the Tainos or the natives were Negroes, right? No. See, they classified us together, right? Check this out. And Virginia passed 2 acts in 1682 that combined Native Americans and Africans into one category as Negroes.
Let me show that picture.
No, we don't have to show a picture. They can get the quotes. And this is another quote. In 1921, Virginia Censor Director Walter Ashby Plecker said this. He declared all Indians were of African heritage and helped to initiate the Racial Integrity Act, leading to the purposely misclassification of thousands of Indians.
Listen to that information, you so-called Latinos and Native Americans. That's really important for you guys to remember that. Not just like listen to what these brothers are bringing out, because a lot of the stuff these camps are bringing out is have lies and have truth.
Hold on, I'm about to. Okay, so we see that the white man, he looked at the so-called natives and the Negroes as one, right? Now, that's according to them. But now we're going to go to a dictionary, right? And we're going to show you that they've always classified us as the same type of people. Watch. This is under Ham, okay? Under Ham. It says, it literally means are hot, burnt, or dark. Fathers of the Mongoloids and the Negro races. Now, it's funny, because when you get online with these only Negro Israelites, what do they call most Hispanics? Or Native Americans? Mongoloids, right? And we have a definition of showing Mongoloids being under Hamites with Negroes. Okay, so they always have been classifying us as the same, even though we are different. Now I'm going to prove that. Hold on. I'm going to prove that with statements from journals from Columbus when he first came in and what he saw when he encountered the natives of this land. All right. And this is from the book. Hold on. This is from the book, The Lost Tribes in Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders, right? So we're going to go into what Columbus wrote when he saw the so-called natives, okay? He said he did not find, Columbus writes, any bestial men among them, and some of us had expected, but on the contrary, men of great difference and kindness. The onset of the warlike multitude was for another day. neither are they black like the Ethiopians. Okay, so he knows that they were colored, but he completely knew the difference between the natives and what the Ethiopians or the Cushites look like. Okay?
And that goes into Exodus 11 verse 7, where it says that the Most High put a difference between the Shemitic tribes, Israelites, versus the Hamitic tribes, the Egyptians. Exodus 11:7.
Okay, it says, neither are they black like the Ethiopian. He goes on. Their hair is smooth and straight, for they do not dwell where the rays of the sun strike most vividly. In the next chapter, he says this. He says, they were very well formed with very handsome bodies and fine faces. Their hair was slick and rough, almost like that of a horse's tail. Okay?
Straight.
Okay? Now, that was Columbus' account, right? Now we're going to go to Montezimo's, which we brought out in the last lesson. Okay, this is what Montezino had to say. He says, blessed be the name of the Lord, who had not made me an idolater, a barbarian, which we know a barbarian just means foreigner, a Negro, and an Indian. When he suddenly stopped, those Indians, he told himself, they are Hebrews. So we have Montezimo clearly knowing the distinction between the Negroes and the Indians, and he classified the so-called Indians as being the so-called Hebrews and not the so-called Negroes. So they knew the difference between the so-called Native Americans and the Indians. Even though we just read how in the Virginia Act, how they just classified all of us as just Negro.
Right.
Okay?
Right. So, again, like the brother just brought out a lot of information that we had already brought out in previous videos already. It's just that our people, for some weird reason, are not adapt to research or watch videos or spend half an hour watching information. Information is power. If you don't got information, you could easily be deceived into nonsense and false doctrines and biased information and all this stuff.
Show us, Quan Ben Shirella, show us where it says Jacob had woolly hair. And matter of fact, just because the scriptures describe in Daniel's and in Revelations about hair like wool, what a lot of you brothers don't even understand is that the sheep that were indigenous to the land of Israel are called the Awasi sheep.
Look it up.
Look it up.
Everybody look it up.
It is not the same as the same sheep that you brothers try to show with nappy, with real nappy hair.
Which is actually an European sheep.
A European, exactly. A European sheep.
Yeah, that's not a European sheep.
Not the same sheep that we see in Israel today. And you can look up videos of the sheep that's in Israel today. It is not the same that you brothers try to show.
Yeah, the sheep.
We expose all this.
The woolly hair is being described in Daniel chapter 7 in Revelation 1 and 14 and 15 is going into the Awasi sheep, which is indigenous to the land of Israel today. And you can see the difference of that woolly texture of hair versus the European sheep that came from Europe, which is hella woolly thick. And that's why a lot of you brothers are trying to make Christ and the Mosai and the tribes. Again,
Hamites.
Like Hamites, which is the Hamitic people look like that. That's what the Mosai said. I have put a difference between the actual Israelites versus the Egyptians Hamitic people. All right. Anyway, so and a lot of brothers within the movement, within the Hebrew movement, use the word black as meaning African American or Hamitic looking. That's not what we're saying. Again, we're having cultural differences or comparisons. Like when we call, like my sister, like I said, again, my sister is dark, she's black, and we call her negrita. Negrita means little black, dark. That doesn't mean that she's African American, and that's the thing that brothers don't understand. When we say, "Oh, my father was a black Indian," it's not saying that he was an African American. That's not what we're saying. You know, and that's what Yashub tried to do when he brought out all his little slideshow when he was saying, oh, you know, the son of Cush, meaning, you know, and he actually went into the Hebrew to describe the word Cush, which means black. That doesn't mean that the information that he brought out or the people that he mentioned in his slideshow, they were black. They were just, we call them negritos, dark. I mean, if that was the case, then we can use the logic of Laban. Laban means white. So does that mean that Laban was white? You see what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to, you know, addressing what some of the things that Yashub ben Issachar brought out in his little elementary school slideshow to try to, you know, basically push black supremacy, right? And we're going to show you some of the nonsense that he brought out, because a lot of his little scholarship, we call it quote unquote scholarship slideshow that he tried to show, and everybody was applauding like, yes, you know, he debunked, you know, what Kanalawa brought out, which we're going to show you in a minute that all his scholarship was garbage. It was nothing more than, you know, his last attempt to push black supremacy ideologies onto our people. And a lot of our people, including Native Americans and Hispanics in these camps, all of a sudden say, well, you know, Kanalawa was exposed, you know, and this and that and the third. Well, we're going to show you in a minute some of the things that he brought out.
The battle of Lachish. Assyrian soldiers parading the prisoners of war before... I don't even know what that person's name is.
All right, so Assyrian soldiers parading the prisoners of war before Sennacherib. On the right and not shown here. Most likely these figures represent the heads of the rebellion. All of them are barefooted and wear nothing on their head, which is a sign of humiliation. All of them seem to ask for mercy. One prostrates, two kneels, and the other three stand before the king. They were executed later in an all likelihood. From Nineveh, modern-day Mosul governing Iraq. So that's basically the source. The British Museum, London, photo, Osama SM. I mean, so we're gonna show you what this brother tried to show concerning who the Northern Kingdom tribes were, and he's gonna show you a picture showing only Negro featured type of people. Can you show that picture first? Can you go back? Like, I know you sent me those pictures. So he's gonna show you, you know, he's gonna say that in the battle of Lachish, meaning that when the Northern Kingdom was invaded by the Assyrians, the people being taken into captivity were Negroes, right? But a lot of people that do that, they zero in on only the Negro feature faces. They don't show you the other part in context. Why? Because they're trying to push lies and black supremacy. We're gonna show you what this brother tried to do. He tried to show you that these brothers that Jose is about to show you, these are the real Northern Kingdom tribes, not knowing that there's a whole relief of pictures showing the different facial and cranial features of the Israelites.
As you can clearly see, other images on the Assyrian walls do not look like the same pictures that Yashub was showing you. These are clearly not non-Negroes. Hold on, we got more. And we're going to show you a picture of Jehu, the king of Israel, paying tribute to Salmanazar.
Yeah, a lot of these brothers pick and choose what they want to show, right?
Okay, these are Israelite women being taken on the Assyrian walls. Again, they're non-Negroes. The whole point is you can look these things up, people. You can go look at the Assyrian walls, and they'll tell you, they'll bring out the story. But the difference is that the pictures that we're going to show you of Israelites actually show them with their head covered, with fringes, and things of that nature.
The problem is that these brothers are trying to push an agenda, and that's black supremacy, making all the tribes Negroes Hamitic looking.
Here's it's kind of sketchy, like I said. Well, this is kind of a bad picture. But a close-up of King Jehu kneeling down to Salmanazar. And if you look at this picture, we can send you these pictures later. He has straight hair, non-Negro. Okay.
Right. Again, you know, a lot of these brothers are showing information deceitfully, not showing in context what's going on, right? That one. As you can tell, look at this brother right here. That looks like a native person right there, non-Negro, and it's from the same the Battle of Lachish. You see that? So brothers need to stop lying about the information. Right here, you find a so-called the one in the blue looks native. His hair is not woolly. Then who are the ones in red? You know, again, people want to pick and choose
pictures,
and that's exactly what Yashub try to do.
And the funny thing is that even when you look at the Battle of Lachish on the Assyrian walls, it shows more of these images than the one or two the ones that Jay Shub showed. You know, they like to show the one with the little nap, you know, the little nappy head one, stuff like that. They like to show those two ones. But if you look at the Assyrian walls, you see more of native Hispanic looking ones on those walls.
Straight hair, you know, and again, a lot of these brothers are trying to pick and choose what they want to show in order to push their own agenda, narrative, you know. That's the narrative being pushed out in a lot of this congregation, a lot of these camps, the Hebrew movement, to say that all tribes were black and this and that and the third, which is not true. You know, again, like Kanala will show, you know, the Shemitic nomadic tribes that were coming into Egypt. So the tribes never began as black, you know, Negro features from the start. They didn't start looking like that. When you look at the Shemitic nomadic tribes, you know.
Here's a book, the Israelites, again on the Assyrian walls. Look at you see the Assyrian in the front, the soldier, and the two Israelites right behind them.
Right.
Non-Negroes. Okay? Title of the Israelites. Come on, bro.
What lucks, you know. But again, you know, a lot of these brothers are trying to push black supremacy, nothing more. You know, like I said, we're gonna work on a video and we're gonna do a slideshow like Yashub tried to do, and we're gonna show these images so that you can see it for yourself in a clear way, you know. But you know, Yashub, all what he wanted to do is cherry pick, you know, certain 3 brothers that had woolly hair. Now we know that when the Assyrian Empire conquered the nations, a lot of nations went into captivity as well. Not just the Israelites, a lot of Nubians, a lot of Cushites went into captivity, you know, not just Israelites. So just like when you go and conquer, when you become a superpower, you conquer every nation that's under the sun at that time, right? So brothers want to put cherry pick and choose, right?
Yeah, it was funny because during his rebuttal, yeah, that's a good one. You know, he's putting his face next to what was the Hishkos, right?
The Hyksos, yeah.
The Hyksos. When did we ever claim to be Hishkos? Like his comparison and things that he was bringing out, it was ridiculous.
It was nonsense.
Like he was bringing out dumb stuff. Like who looks more Shemitic, right? He was making stuff like this. Who looks more Shemitic?
There it is. Oh shit! It went off.
You know what I'm saying? Like he makes dumb posts like that, right?
Put it in again. Put it in. Yeah. So this brother was saying that, you know, that's how the Shemitic, the Hyksos look coming into Egypt. I mean, do they even look alike? That's nonsense, man. That's nonsense. And these brothers try to push that black supremacy ideology. He doesn't look anything like the Hyksos at all. Look at that. Look at that nonsense. He tried to say that that's how they look, like him.
Right? So, and then he was also trying to say how, you know, the Egyptians or the Asiatics, right? He was saying that the Afro-Asiatics, that they're Shemites and you know, a lot of people like to make up this lie, like as if these Afro-Asiatics were dark-skinned people. Let's see what the Egyptians had to say about that. You know what I'm saying?
Quote the book or whatever.
This is a quote from Anne Macy Roth from Building Bridges to Afrocentrism. And she quotes, As we know from their observant description of foreigners, the ancient Egyptians saw themselves as darker than the Asiatics.
Listen up.
And the Libyans,
Comparison.
but lighter than the Nubians, Negroes, and with different facial features and body types than any of these groups. Okay, so according to this scholar, the Egyptians saw the Libyans and the Asiatics as light-skinned and looked at the so-called Negroes as dark-skinned. But they themselves, the Egyptians, said that they didn't look neither. Okay? So I don't know why a lot of people talk about, when you talk about Egypt, they talk about Negroes and Cushites. When we all know that, according to even the history, the Cushites didn't take over until the last of a few dynasties.
Like the three last dynasties were basically Nubian, Negro.
Now,
looking people.
and to further cut what these brothers try to say, this is how the Egyptians depicted, right here, the Libyans. Look how light-skinned they are. Nubians, right there. Next to it, look, the Asiatics. So all you people who try to say that the Afro-Asiatics were dark-skinned people with woolly hair, no, they were actually light-skinned people with woolly hair. Okay?
Look it up.
Okay? That's how the Egyptians depicted themselves. Okay? And the foreigners around them. You people can't get around this stuff. Okay? And we just heard that quote from that scholar. Now let's bring up another book. And let's go see what it says. This is from the book called From Every People and Nation, A Biblical Theology of Race by Daniel Hayes. He quotes, Hayes writes, in the Cambridge Ancient History that the art of the Egypt clearly identified the Nubian Kush group as Negroes.
Nubian Kush as Negro.
The Kushite, they labeled the Kushites as Negroes, right? Not Israelites or whatever you want to call it. Other physical features are discussed in the ancient sources as well. The Kushites were described as having not only black skin, but also flat noses, thick lips, and woolly hair. And you can find that on page 36 through 39. Now, also from the same book, From Every People and Nations, A Biblical Theology of Race. It quotes, the Kushites were clearly black African people with classic Negroid features. And that you can read on that on page 36. Okay? So again, we can, like I told you, brothers, we can pull out scholar after scholar, book after book, showing you and exposing you on all your doctrines.
Right.
And again, this all goes back tying into why Al-Azhar erased Quana's video.
Right.
Because they can't go against all these scholarships and all these books. They can't go against it.
Right.
All you guys can do is press or keep trying to press your agendas, your black supremacy agendas. Egypt. Oh yeah, there were nothing but Cushites and black people. That's a lie.
And the funny thing is that a lot of people say, well, Christ had to flee to Egypt to hide among the Egyptians because the Egyptians were black. Now, we know that during the time of Christ, who was ruling Egypt? Romans. Who ruled before them?
Greeks.
The Greeks. Guess what they were? They were white. And a lot of the Greeks, the very last Greek pharaohs, you know, they were basically the Ptolemy Empire. They took over Egypt.
And the last Nubians to ever rule Egypt was in 733 BC. So that's 700 years before Christ and Paul was even hiding in Egypt. But what's also funny is that brothers they don't even think, right? They'll just like, oh yeah, they're from Egypt, so they have to be black. But like the brother just said, the Greeks and the Romans took over Egypt for like 400 years, right? Just like in America. Now in America, who were the original people of the Americas? Right. The Native Americans, right? And now who runs this land? The white man. They're the majority, right? So that's like saying, oh, Christ and Paul hid in America. You know what I'm saying? So, and we all know America's what? a big melting pot. Now, also you can read in Roman and in Greek books about even when major civilizations were formed, they had a lot of slaves to the point where there was more slaves than the actual citizens of that nation. You see what I'm saying? So when the Romans and Greeks were going out conquering everybody, they were bringing so many slaves. That's one of the reasons why the Romans fell. And you have people who had slaves who did revolts like Spartacus and individuals like that. Why? Because in Rome, there was actually more slaves than slave masters and citizens, than actual Roman citizens. Same thing with Egypt. Same thing with America. You see what I'm saying? We were a melting pot, and altogether, we outnumber the white man, even though they took over this land. You see what I'm saying? So your people's excuse of, oh, Christ hid in Egypt and this and that does not mean that Christ looked like a Cushite or looked like a Hamite. I'm sorry to say that's just not true. And we already showed you even earlier back to the Egyptian walls of how the Libyans and how the Asiatics looked and how they were depicted. So again, J-Shub, your presentation was garbage. And very deceitful. Because like I said, if you go to a wall or to any historical artifact and you go to it and you only take pictures of certain things, but then you try to push that, and then somebody else comes along and say, wait a minute, why are you pushing just that one or two images when there's like 15, 20 different images that go against your image? You see what I'm saying? But they're being deceitful. Look, we're this. Now, J-Sub, he knows for a fact that I smashed him on the boards with this information already. He tried to call me a liar, say that I was showing fake images from the Duran synagogue, right? There you go. This is from the catacombs right here. But the video is just like just foggy. But we'll share this information, the pictures and everything. But he claims that the Duran synagogue show images of black Negroes, when not one image you can find a Duran synagogue of showing any Negroes. All you're going to see is light-skinned, Hispanic-looking people on that wall, which predates all your Russian icons and any painting or artifact a so-called African can bring. Okay. This is from the catacombs. This is BC. This is BC. Your Russian icons is from anywhere from 900 AD to 1400 AD. This is like 1,000 years older. And when you look at the catacombs, you're going to see nothing but light skin. You're not going to see any Negroes. Barely. They probably have a very few because, like I said, we don't disagree that there are black Israelites. Just like Acts 13 shows you how the so-called black Israelites are the minority. Even according to their chart, just like we brought up in the last class. And this is something you guys can't deny. Even according to your own table of nations, the so-called natives and Hispanic look more like the Shemites according to your own table of nations, and who you guys claim to be the Shemites. You know what I'm saying? All this has already been done and talked about.
Right. So the next thing that he tried to bring is
no, hold on. Here's Kwan Barashal. We're racist. How are we racist when we're bringing out scholarship and books and debunking all your propaganda? You see what I'm saying? And this is exactly what we mean. You brothers are so delusional with your agenda. Oh, black this, black that. Well, the Egyptians, we just showed you what two scholars said and called you Negroes Cushites. Okay?
Ragayala.
And hold on, one of them, I have another one. They're not even white. You know what I'm saying? So they have no agenda. One of them was, I believe, a Japanese. You know, a Japanese man. What does he have? What does he care if it's so-called Negroes or so-called natives or whatever who's on those walls? You see what I'm saying? You brother, and the thing is that you brothers are going to get this work regardless. You're going to get these scholarships. You're going to get these books. You're going to get it because you guys don't have any books. You guys don't.
Again, this is not a racist campaign. We don't hate black people. That's not what we're here for. That's not this video is not it's not about that. This video is about these videos that we're gonna be bringing out is about truth and factual information that we're gonna show you brothers to be able to debunk a lot of the teachings that these brothers are pushing out that are based on black supremacy. Now, the next slideshow that he tried to do is huge. Use Shakespeare and the Jews, page 170 by James Sapiro. I want you to read that, bro. This is what Yashub tried to pull. This information that a lot of our people heard in that night, they thought he was showing you correct information, unbiased information, and we're gonna show you that it's a lie. We're gonna show you. Just read that part first.
His source was Shakespeare and the Jews, page 170 by James Shapiro.
By James Shapiro. We're gonna read who that person was, but we're gonna read that page. Read that.
He says, I knew you to be a Jew, for you Jews have a particular color of face different from the form and figure of other men.
Right.
Which things have often filled me with admiration. For you are black and uncomely, and not white as other men.
You see that? So a lot of people are like, whoa, oh my gosh. A scholar said that the Jews are black. Wow. Everybody freaked out. Everybody started applauding on the comment boards, on the YouTube live video, not knowing that we're gonna read who that scholar was. Can you give us a little information? Yeah.
All right. This is James Shapiro.
We're gonna hear from what is the biography of this author that wrote that book. Okay.
James Shapiro, born September 11th, 1955, is a professor of English and comparative literature at Columbia University, who specializes in Shakespeare and an early modern period.
Right, early modern period, not
biblical,
not biblical period. So why is he quoting a scholar that is not even from that time?
Oh, he's not a biblical scholar.
He's not a biblical scholar. Why are you quoting a Shakespeare book, not novel? This is the garbage information scholarship that this brother tried to push to fit his own ideology. It's garbage. And a lot of our people believe that nonsense. It's insane. It's really insane. Brothers ran with it. They just heard what he brought out. It's like, yes, that's factual. Without researching who the authors were. Who wrote it? What was the timeline? Just like we read it right here. Modern times. Not even biblical times. Not even AD times. Modern times. But this is your source? It's garbage. Garbage. Keep on reading, bro.
Shapiro has served on the faculty at Columbia University since 1985, teaching Shakespeare.
Teaching Shakespeare and novels.
And other topics. And he has published widely on Shakespeare.
That's it. Not even a biblical scholarship brought out. But this brother went ahead, sneakily and deceitfully try to make a slideshow, elementary school slideshow showing that the Jews were black according to a Shakespeare book. Are you serious? Is this the garbage scholarship you are teaching our people? This is why I called you out when I was in IYC. You are inside teaching black supremacy ideologies, nothing more. And there's a lot of these brothers within a lot of these camps teaching all this nonsense, just like we brought out in the previous videos about, a lot of brothers run with Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. I am black but comely. A lot of people freak out. Ooh, that's Solomon. Yeah, he was black and comely, brother. Not knowing that if you read verse 2, it's talking about a woman in context. But brothers are easily deceived. A lot of our people are easily deceived. You so-called Hispanics and Native Americans coming into the truth are easily deceived. Is there more to that book? Yeah, that's for the next. Yeah, that's next show. Okay, so the next slideshow that these Yashub Ben Issachar wannabe Mexican try to push is Negro Races in Ancient Asia by Webb Du Bois, the Negro, page 11. All right, so he's gonna read that source. It's right here. Anyway, it's a little blurry, but we're gonna post this information later on when I edit this video and post the images for everybody to see. But let's see quote the information again, quote the source and everything.
This is from Negro Races in Ancient Asia. Source, W.E. Dubious, the Negro, page 11. And it reads, the primitive Negroid race of men developed in Asia.
Right.
So the Negroes developed in Asia, not Africa? I don't know. I don't think any African would agree with that. Wandering eastward as well as westward, they entered on the one hand Burman, and the South Sea Islands. And on the other hand, they came through Mesopotamia and gave curly hair and a Negro type to Jew, Syrian, and the Assyrians. Ancient status of Indian diversities show the Negro type with black face and close curled hair. In early Babylonian culture was Negroid. In Arabia, the Negroes may have divided, and one stream perhaps wandered into Europe by way of Syria. Traces of these Negroes are manifest not only in skeleton, but in the brunette type of all South Europe. The other branch proceeds to Egypt and tropical Africa. Another, but perhaps less probable theory is that the ancient Negroes may have entered Africa from Europe.
It's a theory, right? And it's a probability. That's why it says probable. It's not saying it's true. It's a theory. A theory is something that has not been proven yet, right?
Since the most ancient skulls of Algeria are Negro.
Right. Okay, so a lot of people that heard this information on his little slideshow that he did on that night in his live video in Alistair's channel were just perplexed, like, wow, he just killed this whole thing, you know, about the Asiatic nomadic Hyksos tribes coming into Egypt looking Negro. That's the proof. That's his proof according to his scholarship. We're gonna read who this author was. What is his background? Because brothers need to understand, like brothers who heard this information when Yeshua was bringing this out, I'm sure were perplexed and amazed at the information that he brought out, not knowing that this scholar was what? We're gonna read what he was all about.
His name was William Edward Brugart, was an American sociologist, historian, civil rights activist, Pan-Africanist.
So he was for our people, Latinos and natives?
He was a Pan-African.
Pan-Africanist. And that's exactly, this was his source. This is a biased source that he quoted from. Pushing what? Black supremacy ideology. This author was not for our people, natives and Latinos. He was a Pan-Africanist author of a book that these Yashub Ben Issachar brother try to quote from, because it's biased information. Why would you grab a book that from an author that is a Pan-Africanist, that has Pan-Africanist ideologies and try to use that as a source? That's biased information. Completely biased information. Is there more to that? No.
But we could, like I said, when we brought up, we already debunk all that with all what they were saying and what the Egyptians were saying. You know what I'm saying? And we have more quotes. I'm gonna give you a few more. And like I said, the Egyptians knew the difference between themselves and the so-called Negroes, the Cushites, right? And this is what they write about it. This is from Africa and the Bible by Edwin Yamagachi. Okay, by Edwin Yamagachi. He writes, the Cushite rulers are depicted with a darker chocolate brown color than the reddish brown Egyptians in the wall paintings of the temple. And you can see that on page 108 from that book, right? Now here's another source from from National Geographic titled The Black Pharaohs, right? And this is where it reads, the newcomers did not look like the Egyptians. Their skin was darker. Their philosophy was that of the Sudan. So they compared the newcomers, the Cushites, to the people of the Sudan, right? Now let's go back to the first the book we just quoted right now, Africa and the Bible by Edwin Yamagachi. Okay, a Japanese guy. Okay, and he writes, for a half a century, a Cushite dynasty, the 25th, ruled Egypt. The most important ruler of this dynasty was Taharq, biblically Torhaka. Adam comments, he was the next to last Ethiopian pharaoh, and you can read that in page 107. Now, this is from the book, From Every People and Nations, A Biblical Theology of Race by J. Daniel Haynes. And he writes, they appeared as they are portrayed on the Egyptian art, with straight black hair and light brown skin. Undoubtedly, however, there were other people in the society, both Asiatics and Cushites, who looked different, but were nonetheless Egyptians. So even Egyptians in the Egyptian culture called the Asiatic and the Cushites Egyptians also. As if they were like America. We all looked at each other as one nation, right? Same thing with the Egyptians. They looked at the Cushites and the Asiatics, which we already showed the Asiatics were very light-skinned, and the Cushites were the Nubians or so-called Negroes. But they all considered themselves Egypt at that time, okay? Egyptians. But the original Egyptians, like I said, clearly, as we saw earlier, showed the difference between themselves and the Libyans and the Asiatics and Cushites. And here's, again, from Africa and the Bible by Edwin Yamagachi. And he quotes, Egyptians accurately depicted the enemies and their allies. They made clear color distinctions between themselves and the black Nubians, whom they theoretically denounced with insulting emphasis. You can read that on page 213 from that book. Okay?
Right, let me read. Are you done? You gonna read more?
Yeah. And here's another dagger for you guys. Here's from the book, From Every People and Nations, A Biblical Theology of Race by J. Daniel Haynes, page 33 to 34. And he quotes, numerous scenes portraying Israelites are included in the sculptured wall panels from Sennacherib's palace from 701 BC, portraying the siege of the Israelite city of Lamash. The people in these artistic portrayals are in general similar in appearance to the Israelis and Arabs living in and around Israel and Palestine today. And like I said, you can read that in page 30 to 34. So another scholar saying that the Israelites didn't look Negro, but he compared them to the Israelis and the Palestinians that you see in Israel today, color-wise.
Right. Let me read a scripture before we go on to the next topic or whatever. Proverbs 25 verse 9, it says, debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, and discover not a secret to another. So, we're supposed to be debating the cause. A lot of the stuff that was brought out, we didn't have a chance to debate against it. Why? Because nobody invited us to go and defend the information that was being brought out by Yashub. Why? Because they all acted in deception, right? But right now, we had the chance to bring out the other side of the coin. Okay, because just that's righteous judgment, just like we read in Deuteronomy 1:17. We're supposed to hear both the great and the small, meaning we're supposed to hear both sides of the coin. And that's exactly what Alistair failed to do. Why? Because he went ahead and deleted the live video that Kana went on. Why? Because the brother brought a lot of powerful information, powerful points concerning who the natives are, concerning who the blacks are, concerning who the so-called Latinos are. And a lot of information was brought out, factual information, with scholarship information that cannot be debunked. If it would have been debunked, Alistair would have done the debunking right in there. He didn't do that. He chose to stay quiet.
Because they don't have any sources. They don't have any books by any scholar or anything to back any of their agenda that they're pushing. They can't find any type of books to help their cause. Like I said, and I that video with Garfield and Alazar made me laugh because he asked Alazar for his main sources, and his main sources are all pseudo. And Garfield told them that to his face. All your information is pseudo. All that stuff can be easily debunked. You know what I'm saying? That scholarship is weak. You see what I'm saying? Everybody knows this. You see what I'm saying? That's why they try to say, oh, let's just keep it scriptural, right? Let's just keep it scriptural. But even if you do that, right? Like even when we did that, like I said, Quana clearly went to Deuteronomy 28 and Alazar just sat there. He just sat there
and listened
to Quana
saying,
debunking Negroes on those slave ships from West Africa, showing how they didn't fit half of the curses. That was the statement he made. And instead of Alazar addressing it, he cowered and he stood there and was like, all right, let me just sit there and listen. You know why? Because he couldn't debunk them. And that was scriptural. That had nothing to do with outside sources. This is how to do with the scriptures. Why couldn't Alazar defend Deuteronomy 28 right then and there when Quana was showing them how the so-called a lot of Negroes don't even fit those curses?
Again, you know, for brothers who are interested in that live video, it's on my channel. You guys can check it out. It's there. I know the Sikari took it down, again, for reasons of being fearful that the information that was brought out, their understanding of Ezekiel 28 that was brought out by Kanalawa was basically a punch to their doctrines. Nothing more. And that's why they took it down, because he acted deceitfully. He went ahead and tried to slander Kanalawa's name by saying, well, you're not doing your priestly duties, but neither he is, because you acted deceitfully, brother. You took down the video. Why? According to Deuteronomy 1:17, you're supposed to, as a priest, you're supposed to give everybody the chance to hear both the great and the small matters, meaning both sides of the story we're supposed to hear. You didn't do that. You acted deceitfully and got into your emotions and deleted the live video, when the live video had a lot of information that you couldn't debunk.
And you still can't debunk. Psalms 83.
Right.
4 or 5 African nations. Y'all are the ones that are having this agenda, pushing this Igbo stuff, this Bantu crap, when ain't none of them went through the curses of Deuteronomy. But yet you have only Negro Israelites trying the so-called natives and the so-called Hispanics of this on this side of the world, which is just ridiculous. Okay?
Shalom Yashra, thank you for watching this class. For the rest of the 2-hour class, I'm going to drop the link for our Facebook page in the description area. Check it out, click on it if you're interested in watching the full 2-hour class that we made on this subject. So with that, I said Shalom, thanks for watching again. Barakathon. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share. Shalom.